it is, and it was for many years from Asia, and especially China and maybe Taiwan now. I remember for the Youth Olympic Games, the Olympic qualifications, they sent so many Asians in the European tour, so that we don't get our spots, so they can get more spots as well. So it's a war, I would say. Before there were no so many Asians playing the European tour, except the best or a few people coming in Europe to get some points. But now it's like they are living in Europe sometimes.
That actually is the perfect introduction for my first hot take of the day. Does one of you want to do the intro this time? We should mix it up a little bit.
Jesus Christ. That's
Marvin, give me your best introduction.
Yeah, come on, Marvin.
It's episode 38. Stage is yours.
Jesus Christ. Welcome back, guys. This is ShuttleSquad, this time with Christo, Popov, and Thommy, the host, although I'm making the introduction for number 38 of the ShuttleSquad. And I'm happy to be back on the podcast, and welcome, guys.
Hey.
Thank you, Marvin, for the nice intro.
Thanks, new host. Welcome to the boys club.
It was a little bit surprising that I had to do this, but worked okay.
You did quite well.
Thank you.
It's a boys club this week. Kirsty is on holiday. Great to have you guys back on the podcast. Where are we to start every episode, so everybody knows what's going on? Christo.
Yeah, maybe I start. I'm back on tournaments. Nice, hey. Finally. A World Tour tournament also, so I'm super happy. US Open in Omaha, Nebraska. Really looking forward to that week. Finally, a kind of big tournament for me. Again, not an Indonesia Open semi-final or whatever that I can reach, but yeah, still quite nice to be back on tour.
It's starting today, right?
Yeah, correct. But my first match will be tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
So for all the listeners, it's Tuesday afternoon when we're recording, or Tuesday morning for Marvin, who just got out of bed.
True.
Yeah, from my side, I'm at home now. Actually, it's my second day practice since I'm back from holidays. So yeah, I can feel my body is not in the best shape right now. So I'm not going to tournaments for a few weeks, and hopefully I'll be ready for Japan Open and then China Open, the two big tournaments.
I think it's always so amazing when you guys don't train for a week and then you say you're out of shape.
Yeah, but actually, like, you can really feel it. Like, I mean, maybe a bit less for doubles, but singles, when you have to, it's the same, Marvin.
Body can feel very, very weird after a week of break.
Yeah, it's just so hard to get back to like, you need those powerful legs, and when you don't have them, it's very tough to follow with the racket, I feel.
And I think it also just shows like how few percentages can make a difference on how you feel on court and the shot selection, and how it can impact your performance. Because like obviously we know that like a week of break is not destroying our body or like the work that we put in for years and years. But nevertheless, you can definitely feel that there are like 5-10% less like quickness and aggressiveness in the first step, and maybe also sometimes like when you have a few issues with your body, like you have to make it smooth again kind of first. Like with my hips sometimes I feel like, okay, although a break can also help, like you have to like get into the rhythm of smoothness again first, and yeah, I think it's a big difference sometimes.
What would you say when you take like 1 week of a break? What actually for me as a amateur player and hobby sportsman is nothing. That's a regular. Like if I'm out there working a week, I'm happy when I make it to the gym once or twice. Sometimes I don't move at all for a whole week, so it's kind of normal for me. But when you guys have a break, how long does it take you to get back to the like? It can just be like 2-3 days, right? Can't be more. Is it more?
Yeah, well, I think like for my example, I've been out of the court for a week, but still doing physical things to keep up like the shape, kind of. I think to get back to my normal kind of footwork on court without having to worry, like be able to push 100% on every shot, maybe about a week. So I think like
It's
Friday.
crazy.
Friday, I will feel definitely better than today, of course. And I think from next Monday, I could be like, okay, now it's just about precision and other stuff, but I can push 100%.
Yeah, I would say about the time that the break took, it also
For
takes
real?
to be at like where you feel like I don't feel it at all. Like it's not that after 1 week of badminton, it's impossible for you to perform well. Like I don't want to say that. If I had a break and then would have to play a match on the very first day to be back, I could maybe still reach a very very high level of badminton, where also like people who watch me and even like know me really well would not see that I had a week of break, but in me I could feel it.
Crazy.
Sometimes it's just the serve that is like off a little bit, or like as I said, like the explosiveness in the first step is just a little off, and like you can't see that from the outside, but you just feel it somehow. And then, as Christo said, like after a week, I think this is completely gone, and you feel like okay, all good. You can still have bad days, of course, but it's not affected by the vacation or break.
Oh, for me, it sounds crazy actually, because I thought like, especially when you in doubles, Marvin, I thought that maybe, or also Christo. Sorry, I want to apologize again that last week I was
Okay.
I was referring to a non-doubles player for the European champion. Sorry, Christo. But what I wanted to say is that I thought in doubles it might be probably, or what I thought would be more about the touch and maybe the service situation, as you say, Marvin, and not that much about the physical part. But maybe I'm underestimating that also.
I just think that like the quickness.
A week is nothing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think I must disagree there. But like,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, this
Interesting.
This very first step and how fast you get to the shuttle, it makes such a big difference in doubles. Like 2-3 centimeters can mean the world if you're just at the tape or just underneath. Like it's such a big difference. Christy, you know it as a front court player. Like, I mean, it determines winning or losing sometimes.
Yeah.
And
dictating the rally or just surviving the rally is just not the same.
It's so crazy how that shows me how far away we are from, even though we play the same sports. It's crazy because I've never been there. You know, obviously when I don't play in a while, I also feel like the first 2-3 training sessions, it's like okay, I don't really feel it. I don't know how to move, kind of. But then I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's basically the level. But yeah, as you say, like at the top, those 2, 3, 4, 5%. Yeah, super interesting.
Just shows also how close the level is that these tiny things can make that big of a difference. And I mean, if you just look at a regular match where first one side wins 21-12 and you feel like, oh, they are completely in control, and suddenly the other side wins 21-12. Like it's not that suddenly the other pair like didn't want to play anymore or like just lifted their level 10,000% and now they win. It can be a few centimeters of difference where they lack a little bit of, okay, I still really want it when they won it high in the first set, or this, okay, come on, I need to push my legs, and then they have these a few centimeters more, and that already made the difference. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense that one set goes this way and the other set goes this way, right? So yeah. It's close up there.
Closer than ever. I mean, like every category now is it's very competitive. World ranking is now sometimes on few matches I would say also irrelevant. Like it doesn't matter. And as you said, it's just a matter of details, and sometimes the top can just feel a bit like playing less high level, just few percentage, and that's enough for the other pair to win. So that's why we see also more counter performance, and I think we're gonna see much more in the future as well, because the level and the depth of the rankings and the pairs are just going crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
Everybody's improving.
Yeah. And like if you think back maybe 10 years only, like when I started to be on tour, like the top 10 were like completely
Far away.
Yeah,
like that was another planet to play.
It was really really tough beating them, and like top, let's say 50 player, like almost had no chance, I would say, against them.
Definitely, yeah.
And nowadays, like there are people coming out of the qualification and winning tournaments kind of, and you just feel like, okay, this name and who was that again? And like the 28th Indian guy coming up there playing crazy well, and like the 18th Taiwanese doubles pair coming out there beating everybody, and you just think like, wow, there's so many good players. Like, wow, actually there's not enough.
Sometimes better. Sometimes they're better in qualifications. That happens to me a few times where I see the draws going out, and then my brother's like, oh, you're lucky you're getting someone from qualifications. And I'm like, yeah, but this guy just made a final of 300 last week. Yeah. So he's in pretty good shape, right? And I would like to play another guy who's just main draw, and he's also his first match in the hole, and, you know, let's try something. The other guy is just in crazy shape. So you can see people from qualifications going tournament to tournament. They don't have the points yet, but they definitely have the level. And so they're just hungry to get on court and to win.
Yeah. And also, like, sorry, Thommy.
Go for it.
But now I have, I have to get up the rankings again. And maybe I mentioned it before as well. But I recognize how difficult it actually is to play tournaments, to gain points, to actually get to the top again, kind of, and be eligible to play the Super 500s directly in the it's the competition is so high that there is actually kind of too few tournaments for pairs or players to gain the points that they deserve from their level, and yeah, it sounds a little bit weird with having so many tournaments in the calendar, but in the end, only one player or pair can win the tournament. But actually, from how well the players are playing, many would have deserved these kind of points. But of course, only one can get it, and then only this or that pair can make the next step to maybe get into a Super 300 or whatever directly. And yeah, it's really, really tough, and you have to perform really, really well to gain access to the next stage. And it's way more difficult than I thought, especially with the lack of Super 100s out there at the moment. So when I saw the ladder of what was proposed for 2026, with also increased numbers of Super 100s, I think it's important also for the equality of chances and everything.
But you would say it's easier, easier to maintain in that I don't know, top 30, 32 than getting there.
Yeah, 100%. Because you have guaranteed points. Let's say you need maybe 40,000 points to be 100% guaranteed. I would say, Christo, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I think a bit less, but it's just to be guaranteed to be main draw at least for the 500s, because it's just 28, so maybe for 400.
Yeah, and then that means that you basically have to win 10 first round matches, and only that to gain access to that,
or just one or two big performances through the year.
Correct. And others will never ever get the chance to gain 6,000 points that you would get in a quarterfinal of a 750 tournament. They can't, because the highest that they can actually play is maybe a Super 100, which gives you 5,500 points, and it's already
If you win,
super
yeah.
difficult, to win a Super 100 nowadays. And then even winning a Super 300, which is like sometimes equally as difficult as winning a Super 500, only gives you 7,000 points, which is a big number, of course. But like when you consistently play the very big tournaments, then this is a much easier thing to achieve with a quarterfinal at China Open, for example, where you get 6,600 points.
Yeah. Also, I think it's because there's many more tournaments now. Winning a tournament is worth a bit less as well, because before, when there were maybe 15 tournaments in the year, if you get 1-2 big results, like winning a 300, like everyone got those 15 tournaments, and if you win one of those, you are one of the 15 tournaments you played, you won one of them. So it's very like important. And now that there are maybe, I don't know how many during the year, but it could be 30, 35 tournaments.
On the
Maybe-
World Tour, you mean?
Yeah, I don't know how many, but now, even though you win a Super 300, there are like 15 other 300s to play during the year, so other people could win it. Not everybody's playing every 300, so it's you need to perform more, because everyone has more chances to perform now.
And I think the problem with this is then also that, like, I think we need many tournaments to actually give players a chance and make
Yeah.
it more tight, which it is right now. But then also, like, if you look at Kim and Seo playing Orléans, which is a Super 300, being in the final, I think, maybe against
I think that
Kang.
was the semi-final, but it's actually their worst tournament at the moment.
Yeah, true.
And it's only semi-final, right?
Yeah. Which is ridiculous, but they also then take the points from people who would actually have to be in a Super 300 semi-final or final, and they are not even in the rankings anywhere, because it's out of their best 10 tournaments range, or soon will not be, at least if they play 10 tournaments. So the problem also is that when the best players play so many tournaments that they have actually 8-10 results in reserve that would be very beneficial for the lower ranked players, but they play it also because then the lower ranked players can't get to the top, kind of.
Can be a tactical game.
Yeah, I think it is for
I think
many.
it is, and it was for many years from Asia, and especially China and maybe Taiwan now. I remember for the Youth Olympic Games, the Olympic qualifications, they send so many Asians in the European tour, so that we don't get our spots, so they can get more spots as well. So it's a war, I would say. Before there were no so many Asians playing the European tour, except the best or a few people coming in Europe to get some points. But now it's like they are living in Europe sometimes.
Yeah.
That actually is the perfect introduction for my first hot take of the day.
Okay.
So we bring that to the front. So my first hot take would be, Asian dominance is preventing the sport from being a global top sport, whatever.
Yeah, interesting perspective.
It's to discuss.
I mean, France can say, if we can do it, anybody can do it, right? But maybe there is something to it, especially because the associations have so much power in the BWF and what to decide, especially China, I would say, but also other nations have a big saying there, that they prevent things where they feel like, okay, this could lead to a shift in the advantage that we have right now. And maybe it's not in their interest to make it super global, because like they're doing well, right? Like why should they want to change it? Why should they want to include, for example, the US market more when they are the dominant side and they have basically more or less all the medals in the pocket? And like, why would they want that? BWF on their own, yes, of course, because more global also means more money, I guess. But
especially European and US market is where the money is.
Yeah. But I also feel like maybe that's a wrong perspective, but the funding of the association comes so much from the nations in the Asian countries that they don't need actually the global market, because it's a national sport in China, for example. They get all the money that they need, and also the Chinese market, which is already super big. So there is no interest to include the US, that is also a political enemy, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, also I think it's pretty big sport in Asia, and especially as we said in China. But it's also, if China was more open to, like, you cannot really watch Chinese TV or from here or from US, and they are pretty close countries. So it's more like if China was like people were watching Chinese like culture and videos and stuff, like we were watching US NBA from here. Then we could watch also Chinese badminton from here, and it's pretty tough. So I don't think they're really opening their, what they do inside the country as well as a national like TV broadcaster for badminton. So yeah, I mean it's we are not really looking into what they're doing, I would say.
It's so true, because actually when I think about global, what I realize now when you talk is that I mostly think about European and US markets, basically, because all the things that happen in Asia are not really visible for me. So I don't really consider that as, like, obviously it's a huge continent and part of the global market, but I'm always more thinking about the Western markets. So that's a completely different perspective.
Also, I think badminton
population-wise,
market.
sorry, you.
Yeah, it's okay. You can go on, Marvin.
Okay, just like population-wise, this is the smallest market, right?
Yeah.
Like US and Europe, it's like what, 1 billion of people, something like this. And then you look at Africa, 3 billion or something like that. Like,
For real?
I'm not completely sure with the numbers, but like it's definitely bigger than US and Europe combined. So like there is huge potential out there for presence and the ability to grow the sport. But of course, it's for sports, it's always important where the money is. And let's say, unfortunately, but it is the way it is, US market is the biggest for sports if you want to grow a lot. And then, of course, Europe comes directly behind it. And I think it sounded a little bit that like we don't like what China, for example, is doing. That's absolutely not the case, because they managed to grow badminton to something immensely big. And I would actually love to watch also like Chinese league badminton more if it was easily available, or Chinese national games, like in any sport. I think is like for them it's like equally as big as Olympic Games.
It would be amazing to watch.
Same. Like definitely super interesting and amazing athletes who are out there. Some of them you've never heard of and are actually big stars in China. So yeah, I would love to be more involved in this actually, but therefore I think it would also need the interest of them to make it to the outer world, I guess.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, so maybe I have to rephrase the take a little bit, because obviously, as you said, in Asia it is a definitely a top sport, and for them there's no reason to change that. So that's a fact, I think. I have one more for you. They're always so negative. As in, what do I do?
Provocative.
Yeah. The second one is badminton is too polite. So it's just kind of a gentleman's sport, and it's too polite. We need more bad guys, more trash talk, more rivalries, more
Slim Shadys.
Yeah,
more Slim Shadys.
I wouldn't go for that, but it's more, I think fans are too polite. I mean, as a Frenchman, in France, every sport, like every team sport also, except maybe a few ones, the atmosphere to play, like football, basketball, handball, volleyball, is crazy in the stadium. Like you go for the atmosphere, and you almost don't go anymore to really watch the game sometimes. And in badminton, you just go to watch the game, but the atmosphere, it's very silent. And except few tournaments, of course, when it's the atmosphere is crazy to play, and that's very good for the fans and for the players. But it's mostly in Asia, I would say. Maybe French Open is pretty nice. Atmosphere is good. All England depends of the days. And I mean, I'm talking for the big arenas, of course, and because there are few tournaments that could be very nice to play on. And it's just, I think we miss some, I don't know, some songs to be sing, and just many supporters to come. And I think we only see those on the big events, maybe World Championship, Olympic Games. You can see crazy things. I think like Olympic Games in Paris, it was crazy. The fans, it was almost being in a little football stadium, and I think we miss that for our sport as well. To people just to come to enjoy.
But Christo, you know that the Saarlandhalle is going crazy when Marvin Seidel steps on court.
Yeah, I know. So. I know. That's.
And with all the Frenchmen also when Christo steps on court.
Yeah, it's true. True. There's actually more French fans at the Halle Open than Germans probably, because all the French are performing so well.
Well, it's good to have the more people you have, the better it is.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah. But Marvin, do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. And then, like, for example, we always say, Historias en Ayan, that's like the best you can experience with, like, in terms of how crazy the fans are and everything. And like I have to say, and I spoke about that with a friend the other day, you get also quite a few hate messages actually from Indonesian fans here and there, maybe a little bit more than here and there, when you lose close matches because they are maybe involved in some betting or whatever, and they are just very annoyed by you losing. And actually, I really hate this, of course, like when you get death messages like, oh, like I will kill your mother, blah, blah, blah. Like, of course, this is
not funny.
Not funny, correct. But it just also shows that they are really, really involved in the sport and care. And when you care, there are emotions. And I think it's not a coincidence that it's mainly Indonesians that write these messages, and that they also go crazy after BWF when some things happen in a final where it's maybe a little bit unfair, or also maybe sometimes only seems unfair. So yeah, I think it's connected a lot, and it would be nice if there was more emotions from other nations as well regarding badminton. So yeah, I think it goes hand in hand, and maybe therefore badminton has to be less polite, as you say, and maybe we as the players also would need to cope more with the emotions of the fans, and need to maybe also explain us more if we play a bad match, and not just say, oh yeah, it's just how it is sometimes. Like we can get away with this, but in football, if a goalkeeper has a bad day and like slips through two goals, like they get destroyed by the fans. And in badminton, if you have a bad day, yeah, maybe you get a bad message here or there, but then that's it. So yeah, it would also be something that we as players have to cope better with.
I think the emotional involvement and the connection to the sport is definitely something that is really good from the Indonesian players. But I think the death threats and all those hate messages maybe cross a line that should not be crossed. So I think that's something we can agree on.
But to be honest, this line is crossed in every single sport. Like when you're out there in the media
Probably,
and people care about what you're doing, then it's just how it is.
I still don't get that. Why? Like, I mean, those are like adults mainly. You know, how can you be? Like, I mean, being involved in a sport and being a fan, amazing. Go out there, cheer as loud as you can for your team or for your player. But when they lose, I mean, you can be upset. You can also, I don't know, if you have some chance going on in that moment in the arena. I don't, you know, that's okay. But the transition then to take your phone and write a death or send a death threat to a player that just played their sport and tried to win. What the fuck? I will never understand that.
Yeah.
That
me neither.
That process. But
we as European players going to Asia for some trip to play a tournament and lose first round, like it's not our dream to do. Like
obviously,
nobody. So we're trying our best in every tournament. Of course, sometimes we feel less better, and we have everyone has good and bad days, I would say, but we make most of it, and we just try to do the better we could do at that day. And sometimes results are here, sometimes they're not. So, and fans are just, they think we are robots at some point, like every other sport. I think tennis, we had a lot of drama from Roland Garros, like just so many hates from fans, messages to people. It's just
And I think sometimes when people only see you on TV or YouTube or whatever, I think they forget that we all are humans. Like that's also why I like
maybe
what we're doing here, for example, at the ShuttleSquad. Like I think they get to know our personalities a little bit more and can see that we are people with real emotions and actually just like them, and just maybe trained a little bit more. But in the end, we're also just humans. And if you lose the connection to that, the players out there are not just the players, they are people, just like everyone else, then I think it's maybe a little bit easier to slip into this bad message typing thing. But yeah, it's not an excuse, it's just maybe how it gets there.
I think also some people could be not the players because they would stop, but more coaches or fans. Sometimes they think we are doing only our job to be on court, but we do it more because we like the sport as well, and it's the passion. That's why we go and travel so much and do like so much sacrifice. And if you love the sport so much, then it's not really sacrifice. You're just willing to do them. But sometimes coach, they think it's more like just the professional side, and without the enjoying, or not talking too much about the enjoying. And fans don't know it as well. For them, it's like you play bad, and they think you just don't care about it, but you do. And yeah, I think some people forget that we just go on court as well because we love the sport.
Yeah, I think if you look at the hours that you put in, and the early mornings and the days where you really don't want to go and you still go, I think if you haven't done that, you cannot really imagine how much that must be. And then if you can't, it's not just that you.
It's not football or tennis as well. It's like to live from badminton. It's very tough. So they also don't know it, and they think like, yeah, he's like 30 in the world. Yeah, he should be having like not millions, but like good money and stuff. But the truth is, it's pretty tough to win from badminton, win your life with badminton. So to train every day, and sometimes not to be sure, then that after you need to have studies to work after and stuff, and have a family. It's tough. You have to make it, and I hope the sport will grow, and then let's say in 10 years, a young Frenchman from 18, 19 years old can sign a very nice contracts and just know that he's very well. So I hope
that would be good. But that, Christo, you're actually today you're having so good transitions for my hot takes. It's amazing.
Yeah,
because that's another.
we had a call earlier. That's why.
Yeah, we should do that more often, and like really plan those episodes so we have the perfect transitions. Because my last transitions would be, or the last hot take would be, Marvin Seidel would make more money from golf than from badminton as a golf player.
If I had trained only golf my life, or
if you make a transition now, it's probably tough, right?
yeah, I would guess so. That's unfortunately not possible. Maybe like for the Champions Tour, like when you are over 50, you can play the Champions Tour, and they make definitely still more money than all the badminton players. So
that's probably your second career income.
Yeah, maybe if someone sponsors me until then, maybe we can figure something out. But actually, in golf, it's also really, really difficult. I think more difficult than people think it is. Like if you look at how many people can actually live off golf in Germany as a player, it's not many, I would say.
Is it more than badminton players?
Probably, but it's a
clue,
different
actually.
system for sure. And I also feel like I think it's way easier in golf to then live off a coaching career, because there's just so many golf coaches in the golf clubs where rich people are who are willing to pay money and this kind of stuff. And I think it's also easier for players to find sponsors, because there's just so many rich people in this sport who love the sport and then are happy about being able to help young players doing what they love. So probably to a certain kind of level, it's easier, but still very, very tough. Unfortunately, we will never know what or how far I could have come in golf. I think it would have been okay with the level that I have now with playing badminton. But yeah, we'll never know, unfortunately.
I don't really know anything about golf, actually, but if there's someone out there who is familiar with golf, I heard that Marvin's handicap is or was 1. And I think that's really, really good. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm laughing because there was another transition just made from you, Marvin. It's
Okay,
crazy,
yeah.
Because guys, it's perfect. Because I have one fan question that came in, and that is actually, as a young player, what would you recommend a young player to do, like looking for sponsors and trying to find a way to get sponsorships in? What is something that
if I knew if I only knew, then I would have had more in my career.
I think
Yeah.
it depends a lot of your age and your stage of the career as well. If you're like 17 and just young gun, or you're already in the tour, or you're almost retired player. So I think
No,
it's very
kind of-
different.
we're talking about a young talent
Okay.
trying to
I
make
think it's a
his
lot
or her way?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about like getting to know people and let them getting to know you, and being honest about your feelings, your emotions, your goals, also the stage where you are at and what you need, and how you may, like, also explaining yourself on how you got there and why you got there, and trying to get them understanding like why you do all this, and hopefully let them see your vision, and then they want to support you because they believe in your vision, and maybe also get the vision of seeing you play at the Olympics at one point or whatever. And then if you can get them understand the emotional side of it, and not just the I sponsor you and then I hope to get a reinvestment a few years later. I think that's very difficult in badminton to achieve. It's more people want to support you because they like you and they think it's cool what you're doing and inspiring, and they want to be part of that journey. So yeah, I think I would recommend to speak to people, to be honest about yourself, and also to dare to ask for help and say, hey, I really want to do this, but therefore I need to have this, and this, and maybe you can be part of it and help me achieve my goals.
Yeah, but if you do not have, like, I don't know, your uncle has a business, or a friend of your family or whatever, do we have examples in badminton of, because it's mainly about your level basically, right? Because do you know examples in badminton where you have a player that is like not super good, but somehow is marketing himself really well, so he gets like good contracts or good partners or anything? Do we have an example like that? Because I don't really see it in badminton, or I don't.
It's maybe a little not exactly what you're saying, but if you look, for example, at Mats Christoffersen, I think he's a very talented player, of course, no doubt. But because of what he did with social media and how he presented himself as a coaching player, kind of, and giving ideas out there, and having presence in the social media world, he gained more, like money-wise, than he would have done if he did not do that. And maybe that is not something how I described how you could get sponsors. It's definitely a very different kind of approach, but it surely worked for him, and I'm pretty sure it benefited him a lot for his career, and made him able to pursue his career how he wanted to. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
He's actually the one player. I think he would be in any other country in Europe but France. He would be the number one men's singles, basically, right? Is there any other?
Yeah.
So just unlucky for him that he's a Dane with four people in front of him. Yeah, but good way, definitely good way, and can be a really good example how to put yourself out there, even though if you don't get the full attention from your badminton
association.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, I have no more questions. I have no more things, and we're already 40 minutes deep. So I think, Marvin, you can start your day now.
Awesome.
Christo, I wish you a great afternoon.
Thank you.
And good luck getting back in shape.
Yes, working on it. Marvin, who do you play first from?
Garcia Rodriguez from Spain.
Okay.
I think it's an okay draw.
I thought you were also playing, like, initially I thought you were also playing men's doubles this week, but it's only mixed, right?
Yeah, Daniel still struggles with his foot, actually. So he pulled out a week ago, before the draw was made. Yeah, so.
Okay.
But it's still the plan that you two play
World Championships.
World Championships?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And will that be your final tournament as a pair?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
A final tournament, because then you will split up again?
Yeah, then I will only continue mixed doubles.
Okay, so you made your decisions. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
A really short but also entertaining episode of the Headband Boys.
Yeah, true. We'll miss it.
Yeah, for sure. Now we have to come up with something new for the German badminton media. Fuck. Took a headband.
Yeah. Okay, no. I will.
Perfect. All right, Marvin. Good luck for the week. Enjoy.
Yeah, good luck, Marvin.
In the US.
All
and
the
get
best.
home safe. Get home safe.
Let's get another win.
Yes. Yeah, let's get another tournament. Perfect. And yes, guys. Next week, actually, there will be a special episode. We will have a guest coming up. I will not tell you who it is yet, but stay tuned for next week. It's going to be interesting. And
is it a player or outside players?
It is a player.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Marvin, you did the intro, so you can also do the outro.
Okay, thanks for having us today, guys. I really enjoyed it. It was great to end the 38th episode of ShuttleSquad this time. And thanks, guys. See you next week with a special guest. Woo.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And thanks, Marvin, for the very nice intro and finish.
Talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.